Welcome back everyone. So after designing the login form, and we also have added the login form in the navigation tab, so now we will designing the sign up form, a simple sign up form with all the validation control, and we'll also try to add the sign up form, the link in the navigation tab also. So let's go to Visual Studio. As you all remember, the navigation bar is in the master page, so click on it. So here we have got home, services, classes. These three are the static pages which we have defined and designed before. Any one of this page we can remove which is not required. About us, login and contact us. Just for now we'll just remove this membership. Okay, and just beside login we'll add one more form called sign up, and we'll have sign up dot aspx mapped. Okay, now let's go to the master page and right click on it and add content page. Let's rename it first, like it is sign up form. Okay, so form is ready to use. Now we have to design, and the similar approach will follow which we did for designing login form. I hope you all remember that we use the table structure so that controls get placed properly, and now in the case of sign up form, that table format will be really very much useful for us. So let's see how we can design the sign up form. Let's go to design, and now the first thing what we'll do, we'll just try to insert the table first. Okay, so you can see the moment you switch from source to design, the table option in the top appears. So click on table, click on insert table. We'll take two columns, but we need multiple rows. Somewhere around you can take, like I'm taking 14 rows. Okay, so that after placing every control I want a one row gap, so that sign up form will need like look neat and tidy, so I'm taking 14 rows, 2 columns, and click on OK. Let's go to source. You will see that all the tags are here now, all the tr tags are there, right? Okay, so what we'll do, will in the first row we'll try to display that it is a sign up form like we did for the login, mentioning it under h1 tag sign up form. Okay, and we'll just mention that it will take 2 column space, that is call span 2. Okay, so first row has been designed. Let's leave one the next row and go to the third row. Now here we'll ask user to enter first name. Even you can place label, you can simply drag and drop the label also here, that will also do. So we'll just stick to the directly entering the text here within this cell. Otherwise you can just drag and drop the label control also and set the property, text property, id property, and etc. So beside first name we want to have a text box here, so let's drop the text box. Just click on the text box and right click on it and click properties, so this property window will appear here. Now you all can see. Okay, so the text box property is here. If you switch back to source, of course you will be able to see the text box now. Property also, so the best practice is to set the id also first, like you should call it with which name. So there's the id here. Okay, so let's give an id properly, that this is txcf name. Okay, So the ID is txt fname. Now we are done with this property. Okay, with this we are done with this text box. Now in the next row, what I want to have a validation control. So user should not be able to click submit button without entering the first name. Fname stands for first name here. So we'll just put the validation control here. So you can come to the toolbox, search for validation, and there is a required field validator. So just drag and drop here in the very next row. Okay, again, if the property window is not visible, I'll just keep it now as it is. Okay, so require for validator on the design type is there. Right click on it, property window. So now here it is. Okay, it will remain here only. So the property window, now we have to change the properties. That the error message will be for user, please enter first name. Okay, even like you can change the appearance, back color, border color of it. Even the font color, like this font color, you can change to like should get display in red, something like that. And it will validate which control, of course txt fname. You can see the drop down appears here. So by setting all this policy like properties, we're done with the text box. Now let's go to the source once again. So in the first row we have entered text box. In the second row we have entered required for validator for that particular text box. Now we'll continue this practice. Now I want last name one more time, guys, so that you can easily understand like what is happening here. So for the last name I want text box again here. So search for the text box, drag and drop. I'll now try to pin, wait, so the property window should always be here for in our case. So let's go to the design. This is a text box, right click, property. Okay, I'll try to pin this also, and it is dockable, right? So now I'll not close this window, it will be here only. Okay, so you all can see the property window for this text box is here. So text box, and then we have to set the ID for it. The ID should be txt name. Okay, and in the next row we want to have a required for validator again. So drag and drop. So now in the case of required for validator, so if you select this, if you click on it, right click on it, properties on it of it, so it should display the properties. Yeah, so here the properties, the error message will be please enter last name. Okay, we can change the font color again to back to red, something like this. Now similarly we can have mobile number. So let's go to the next row and ask user to enter mobile number. Let's have a text box quickly for it. Go to ID. Remember the property it is getting like displaying here is the property of the TD tag. Okay, so do not get confused. We want to change the property of text box. So go to design, there will be text box and the property get display here, id txt, then mobile, properly given id, and let's go to the source once again. Now again I want to have a required field validator here. I'll just remove this non-breakable space NBSP. Required field validator is here. So if I select this and go to design, so that property get visible here. So error message will be please enter mobile number. Okay, and again the fore color will be red. Fine. So please enter mobile number, but in this case of mobile number we also want one more validator, that is regular expression validator, so that we can restrict the user to enter only 10 digits. Okay, so in that case we want one more validator here. So in the same cell only, okay, in the same cell only we'll have a regular expression validator. So I'm dragging and dropping here regular expression validator. If I go to design, the regular expression validator is selected here and the property will get display. Wait, yeah, so this is the property. Again the message you can have here, please enter proper mobile number in case if user enters only 9 digits or 8 digits or 11 digits. But how to restrict it? So for that, like after this message, error message, and choosing the color, you have to specify the expression. That is regular expression. You have to search for the property regular expression. Okay, so just scroll down, you will get the expression here. Yeah, and you can click on this button also, triple dot button. So click on it. This was related to, these are the bindable properties, and we are searching for validation expression here. Okay, validation expression is here. Yeah, okay, fine. Cancel this, come to validation expression, click on triple dot, and it will ask you, like by default this kind of numbers are already there, and zip code is also there. So if you choose the zip code, okay, so it is having this format, that D stands for digit actually. What we can do is like choosing any number. You will see, yeah, see French postal codes are of 5 digits, so we can use this expression. I'll click on OK, and instead of 5 I'll just replace the 5 with 10, because in our case we need 10 digits, and that's it. Okay, so if user tries to enter 9 digits only or 11 digits, so this message will get displayed that please enter proper mobile number. It will only accept when it is 10 digit. Moving on, next I want to have an address. So coming here, living, okay, yeah, here let's have a address, and similarly I'll have a text box here. I'll go to design, property of the text box. I'll just change the ID first, that is important, txt address. Okay, and I'm not setting the required for validator for address here. You can set it. Now you all know how to do it. So moving on to the next part, that is email ID, which I wanted to focus. So I'm leaving one row here for the required validator. Now the next will be email ID, and here I want to have a text box for email ID. Similarly for the email ID also, we should have a regular expression validator, and it is already there by default. So we'll see how to choose it. So txt email, setting the property ID property of text box first, and going to the source back here, and I want to drag and drop now two validation controls here. One is required for validator, like email ID is must, enter, and one more control I want, that is regular expression validator. Okay, so for required for validator, let's go to the design first. Selected, error message will be please enter email ID, something like this, and changing the faux color to red. Okay, similarly for regular expression validator, error message will be please enter proper email ID. Okay, then similarly the faux color for this also we can choose red. Now we need validation expression to specify. Yeah, this is a property, and here you have to search for the email ID. It is already there, the expression. Okay, if you go, yeah, we have got it, that is internet email address expression should be like this. Okay, you don't have to mug up. Okay, just click OK, and finally it will verify that it is a proper email ID or not. If it isn't, then it will display this message that please enter proper email ID. And the last thing we want to have in sign up form is password. So we can have here password, placing text box for it, design property, yeah, going to ID first, setting txt pass as a ID, and you have to change the text mode. So whatever we'll type in the inside text box, it should not get display. So there is a text mode property for this. Yeah, so here we can change it to password. Even you can do it for like address, change the text mode to multi-line. Okay, so multiple lines will be there, the text box will look big. Okay, and similarly we can have a required for validator for password also. Okay, so you will enter that on your own, I'm so sure. I'm now just putting the last thing which is required here, that is button to submit. So I'll drag and drop the button here, and the text will be submit. Okay, so after putting all these things, let's see like how our sign up form appears. Okay, so some property control to validate property cannot be blank. For particular control I have kept blank, I guess. Let's see which particular property it is, like for which particular validator it is. Like I've kept the blank. Let me see. Okay, let me start from this thing. Okay, so this was our first text box. Control to validate is here. Last name. Yeah, so there is no control to validate property has been set for this last name. So let's go to design. Okay, right click and let's set the property control to validate to last txt last name. In this case, let's verify others also. Please enter mobile number. Control to validate property has to set for txt mobile, and same goes for the regular expression validator also. Control to validate txt mobile. Enter email ID. Control to validate txt email, and regular expression also control to validate txt email. Done. Now let me right click on it and view is in browser. If I click on sign up here, let's see. Some error is here, that is unobtrusive validation mode requires a script resource mapping for jQuery. Okay, so what should be done for this thing? Okay, I'll show you, and I'll show you that which particular code you just have to mention in the web config file, and how to recover from this error. Okay, and I'll put that particular line of statement which you are supposed to put in a web config inside this video description also. Okay, so for this error you have to go to Visual Studio back, and let's go to web config file, and inside configuration you should have a tag called app settings, and inside it you have to mention this line. Okay, so that is inside app settings we want to add a key, that is validation settings colon unobtrusive validation mode value none. That means it will allow all the validation control to work. Let's see. Save this, go to sign up form. Now right click on it and view in browser. So if we come down, of course we all will be able to see the sign up. See, if I click on submit, all the messages are here displayed. Even if I try to enter mobile number, and this is having how many digits? 10 digits, so it is accepting. If I enter one more digit and click on submit, so it will display that please enter the proper mobile number, right? Okay, if I make one digit less also, it will again ask me this to the same, that please enter proper mobile number. Same goes for the email ID. Fine. Now what we can do, the way we have designed the login form, you all can see it was in between, like not between, in center and properly displayed, and this is how the text box and button was looking like. Same design we want to have it for sign up form. So let's go to the sign up now here, and login form is also here, you all can see. Okay, so you just have to see like what CSS class for this text box you have given. Similarly for all the text box you can give the same CSS class. This class in the previous video you all can see like how I have pulled up one particular CSS code from the internet and have it like in our style.css code. You all can see text box. So this was the CSS code for text box, and similarly I have copied the CSS code for the button, and I have entered those two CSS code in our style.css file, and I'm using it. So you have to do the same thing for the sign up form also. So you just have to go here, okay, inside text box, okay, you just have to mention this property, like the CSS class txtbox. Same for last name, you can do it. Same for mobile number. Same for, if you still have any confusion, you can see my previous video, okay, like how I have designed the login form, and you'll come to know like how actually I have modified, or you can say beautify, the login form. Similarly I'm using the same approach. Okay, so email is done, and the last one is password. Similarly I can do it for button also. In the login form there was button, and the CSS class for button was button. Copy it, go to sign up form, click here and paste it, save. Okay, so this is done. And one more thing we have to do, that was the login form takes the area of 40%. You can see here, I guess table style width is 40%. So we'll just apply the same style to sign up form also. The width should be not 100%, it should not occupy the whole screen, it should be like 40%. Okay, and the table we want to have in center, so for that we'll put the whole table inside center tag. Save it. Now let's run this. And now you all can see the sign up, first name, last name, mobile number, address, email ID, password, and submit button is here. So that's all from this video. Even you can beautify it more. If you want to have a label, then you can have a CSS code for the label too. Okay, you can change the font size of the label, change the design font style of the label. Okay, even for the sign up. So this is how this is done. So that's it from this video. In the next video we'll be talking about database connectivity. That means we'll connect sign up form with the database. Thank you.
That's all guys from this video. If you really like this video, press like button and do subscribe to our channel. If any queries or suggestions, do comment below. For more such updates, follow us on Instagram and Facebook.